Back here on HQ Spotlight, we got the battle of the big kitties with the Panthers and the Jags in week 1. The Bryce Young haters are still alive and well, but they forget that towards the end of last season, things were clicking for Bryce Young. We know Dave Canales has had success with quarterbacks and reviving them in the past with Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith. The Panthers are unfortunately coming off a 5-win season, and Bryce Young, more than anybody, knows how important this upcoming season is.
It's a super pivotal year for the team. That's what matters. The team's success, the work we put in, what's important to us. We take it game by game, but our goal is to win, and that's the most important thing to me. It's the most important thing that it can be, because that's what matters to me. So regardless of that, it's all about winning.
I love Bryce Young. All right, let's bring in Ryan Wilson and John Breech. So, guys, as mentioned, towards the end of last season, we saw things really start to click, and Bryce Young was kind of finding his way, right? And he's saying, hey, it's a pivotal year for the team. But, Breech, how crucial is their success overall for Bryce Young's future as a starting quarterback in the NFL in your eyes?
Oh, it's absolutely huge. You look at where Bryce Young started his rookie year, he played poorly. That's how it went. He played poorly to start off his second year, got benched, flipped things around, and played really well down the stretch, as you mentioned. So now when you get to year 3, is Bryce Young going to take that step forward that we saw him start to take last season, or is he going to regress and look like that quarterback that we saw early on in his career? If he regresses in year 3, the Panthers are going to be back at square one looking for a new starting quarterback in 2026. So this, of course, is a very big year, and it's not going to be easy to go out there and be as successful as he was last season. He lost his favorite weapon, that was Adam Thielen. The Panthers got rid of him, traded him away to the Vikings. Thielen, even though he's an old guy, led that team in receiving yards and touchdown catches. But they do have a huge new rookie in Ted McMillan, who could very much turn into Bryce Young's favorite new weapon. It'll be interesting to see what kind of chemistry they develop and whether that shows up on the field in week 1. They brought Hunter Renfrow essentially out of retirement to catch passes from Bryce Young. But one thing to watch this week specifically against Jacksonville is that left tackle Ike Ekwonu probably isn't going to play because he's dealing with an appendix situation. So you have a Jaguars pass rush that's pretty impressive. Josh Hines-Allen, Travon Walker. If Bryce Young finds himself under pressure, how's he going to handle that? So we're going to get a good taste of where Bryce Young is right now when he takes that field on Sunday.
No, I agree, John, and I give you a lot of credit because there's no bigger Andy Dalton supporter than John Breech. For him to say what he said about Bryce Young's possibility, that's encouraging because, right, last year, week 2, second year for Bryce Young, found his way to the bench. It took 5 weeks and a freak automobile accident for Andy Dalton to get injured and for Bryce to come back. But as you noted, Jacqueline, he played exceptionally well. We saw sort of the glimpses we saw from Alabama when made him that first overall pick. But to Breech's larger point, yes, Adam Thielen's gone, but there are a lot of young playmakers around him. Dan Morgan and Dave Canales done a good job of surrounding him with young wide receivers and tight ends and a running back room. The offensive line situation is improved when everyone's healthy, but that's a big if. The defense should be better. Should is also a word that you don't necessarily feel great about. But I think we should feel good about where Bryce Young is, where he came last season, the last month and a half, and how this is going to play out. This game will obviously be tough. And by the way, Jacqueline, I asked my favorite AI, in a hypothetical fight between a Panther and a Jaguar, the Jaguar would almost certainly win. There's some nuance to that, but we don't have to get into that for your purposes.
No, I'll just take AI, at face value because I obviously agree. And Breech, I was there in the Natty 2017, 2019, dodging all the Skyline chili that I can. But I remember Andy Dalton in those days, so I understand being president of his fan club, right? So when it comes to the Panthers, obviously a 5-win season. They missed the playoffs for a 7th straight season. So, Breech, what are the biggest questions that you have for this Panthers team moving forward?
Well, my biggest question is their defense going to be any better? I know we just talked about Bryce Young and his development, and of course that is huge. But when you look at this Panthers defense last season, a big reason they didn't win very many games is because the defense gave up the most points in the NFL, the most rushing yards in the NFL, the most total yards in the NFL. They literally could not stop anyone. So if that happens again, this offense isn't built to win games that turn into shootouts. So the defense has to be able to stop someone. And the front office did a good job of going out and getting guys who are going to contribute right away this year, like Trevon Moore, Tershawn Wharton, Patrick Jones. So there are a lot of new starters that are going to be on that defense. And the other part of this is they're going to get Derek Brown back. who's up front. He's going to help stopping the run, so he's a key defensive player. But the defense absolutely has to play better if this team is going to improve this year. It's not all on Bryce Young.
All right, so impact players to watch for the Panthers. And Ryan, I'll come to you first because you know I love a good abbreviated name, and it's our boy T-Mac that's your impact player. Tell us why.
He's not your T-Law, he's your T-Mac. Tedrow McMillan out of the University of Arizona, their top 10 pick, the wide receiver. He was an absolute huge target. By the way, if Bryce Young were as tall as T-Mac, Pete Prisco would probably love him much more than he should. That said, here's the thing about Tedrow McMillan last year at Arizona and what we saw glimpses of so far in preseason. You can throw him a 50-yard pass and it looks like a handoff because he is so much bigger than everyone else. He's a contested catch machine, and that will make Bryce Young's life eminently easier. They have Xavier Legette, who flashed last year as a former first-round pick. They have JT Sanders, an insanely athletic tight end. And the thing about Bryce, he throws with such great anticipation that big catch radius that T-Mac has makes it much easier to trust him when he has to throw the ball, when he's understandably under pressure, as Breech has talked about with the offensive line concerns, at least in week one. So how quickly T-Mac develops will be so important to how this offense looks early on. He had some focus drops during preseason. I'm not worried about that. I think this offense is going to be much further along than they were the last couple years when Bryce started.
Ryan, I should have you know that while you were talking, I also asked AI who would win a match between a Panther and a Jaguar. And it told me to stop wasting my life away and get real. So it didn't want to answer anything about
You're making
fights.
that up. You're making that up, Breech. Why can't you just let me live in happiness right now?
I'm Team Breech on this.
My
Breech, that was
impact
amazing.
It's Derek Brown. I'm going to go to the other side of the ball here. I mentioned him with the Panthers defense. If the Panthers defense is going to improve this year, he is going to be a gigantic part of that revitalization that could happen. You look at what he did in 2023. He set the NFL record for most tackles by a defensive lineman. He was an absolute game wrecker. He helped plug up the front and help stop the run for the Panthers. And so they had high hopes going into 2024. But then he tore his meniscus in week one and didn't play the rest of the season. So you're talking about your best defensive lineman who just wasn't on the field. And that was a big reason why the Panthers defense ended up struggling. So now you throw him back out there, and we're going to see where he's at. And if he can get after Trevor Lawrence, get a couple sacks, stop that Jacksonville run game, then the Panthers are going to be thrilled. But he is going to be a huge part of what they're going to do on defense. And if they're going to improve, it's going to be because Derek Brown's back on the field.
All right, let's talk about the Jags, shall we? It is year one under head coach Liam Cohen. Duval is real excited for him. And hear how he's feeling. I can't even talk straight because I'm so excited here. Liam Cohen, his thoughts leading up to his first game as a head coach in the NFL.
You're excited to see your players go out and play. You're curious to see the responses to adversity and the challenges within a game. But you're eager to go and try to put a product on the field that people are proud of.
So, Breech, what would be considered a successful year one for Liam Cohen there in Duval County?
I would say turning around Trevor Lawrence, making him look good and making it unquestioned that he is the franchise quarterback in Jacksonville. That's got to be priority one because you want to be dealing with that next offseason. And then number two, I would say getting to the playoffs. I think that is a realistic goal for this team. I know they're in the AFC South, but that's a very winnable division. They don't necessarily have to win the division. I would say being in the wild card race. So if you get Trevor Lawrence playing well, and he's got a bunch of people to throw the ball to, Brian Thomas Jr., one of the best young receivers in the NFL. Travis Hunter obviously will be out there on the field. He's got a stable of running backs, so you get that offense turned around. And if they start putting up points because of what Liam Cohen is doing, then that will be a successful year. And so a wild card would be the cherry on top of the Liam Cohen Sunday.
All right. I was going to say sounds good to me, but I want a little bit more. I want a little bit more from the Jags for that. You mentioned Travis Hunter making his Jags debut. We know he was a two-way star at Colorado, played like 1 million snaps, and he's going to be a two-way star. At least he thinks he can be at the next level, right? So, Ryan, what do you think we see from Travis Hunter in his debut? How many snaps are we going to get? And we can't forget about the injury concerns and all the injuries he was dealing with in the offseason as well.
No, that's right. And I think for us, Jacqueline, Travis Hunter is our new Anthony Richardson, so hopefully that's a newer, brighter day.
Works for me.
I feel like every time we talk about Travis, we need to see that picture you tweeted out on draft day of a young Jacqueline with her face painted for Jaguars and her Jaguars hat on, because that's the energy you're bringing. That's what the kids say. Look, man, Travis Hunter is so exciting that you want him out there for every single snap, but you talked about it, the injuries that he suffered even during training camp and preseason, the injuries that he had at Colorado and Jackson State before that, and those are the things you have to guard against. Because I've said it before, when we were at that pro day, me and Rand Carthon, Travis's calves look like my wrist. Like they were, you can see him there. I mean, and he is an insane athlete. So the issue is when you're going up against guys that weigh 230 plus, you have to be careful with the wear and tear if we're going to use the NBA term, the load management. But it is so enticing to want him out there because he does everything at such a high level. And any play, whether it's him playing cornerback or as a wide receiver, has the potential to go to the house. So you have to manage the expectations of wanting him out there all the time. So I would hope they don't play him more than 50 or 60 snaps. But I just can't see that lasting because he is that special. So fingers crossed he stays healthy. And to Breech's comments about what they expect out of Trevor Lawrence, everything comes together so Jacqueline can celebrate something in January.
Ryan, we so happen to have this photo. The coloring is a little
there
off.
it is.
But there I am in the, I don't know, mid-90s or so.
I want to stay on this because it's not the only one. You also have this gem.
This is my older brother. This is him, you know, just Duval till we die, baby. Like this is like 97, I think, outside of a Jags game, in like the little parking lot gravel pit where there's some fire barbecue. Like I literally inject that photo into my absolute veins. Like I'm obsessed. Do vizzle my nizzle. That's what we're gonna say now, okay? Jags impact player to watch. Breech. All eyes are on our boy T-Law.
It's Jacqueline.
It's
me.
Jacqueline,
It's me.
If you married the Jaguars mascot, your name would be Jacqueline DeVille. That'd be perfect.
That's kind of amazing. I'm gonna dial up Jackson. I gotta. Sorry, Kyle. Wedding's off. I'm marrying the mascot of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is what it is.
I don't even know where we're at in this
bringing
show.
it up.
Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
We got to get to Trevor Lawrence.
Let's talk about Trevor Lawrence. Absolutely. Hey, we know what Trevor Lawrence has been. He's been up and down throughout his career, but he's never really had any consistency at head coach. It just seems like there's a new guy every year in Jacksonville. So it seems like Liam Cohen can be that guy who creates that foundation. We saw what he did in Tampa Bay last season, where it kind of turned around that offense. Baker Mayfield looked good, and a big reason they were able to do that is because the Buccaneers got their rushing attack going, and that took a lot of pressure off Mayfield. So this year, if you're Jacksonville, if you get that rushing attack going, get other aspects of your offense going, take a little bit of pressure off Trevor Lawrence, and just simplify things. That's all they got to do. So Trevor Lawrence, a lot of pressure on him this season, but he's their impact player.
Breech, Wilson, this has been a time. Let me tell you, I was not expecting diving into my childhood photos at Jags games and then also the potential pairing of me marrying the mascot. But, you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to have fun. Jags Panthers Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. By the way, before kickoff, make sure you check out the NFL Today Plus. It is streaming every Sunday. Super fun show that is kicking off this season at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can watch it on CBS Sports HQ or Paramount Plus.